Hello, my name is Anthony McClure, and I'm a solutions architect with the AWS SaaS Factory and part of the SaaS Competency Partner Program. Here today, I am very happy and pleased to have with us 27Global, one of our esteemed SaaS competency partners. To get to know 27Global a little bit more, we've invited them in to share some of their experiences with you, our customers. So what I'd like to do is to start out with a quick introduction with everybody on the team here. So why don't we start out with 27Global and go from there.
Thanks, Anthony. My name is Garrett Chumley. I oversee strategic partnerships for 27Global and serve as our AWS Alliance Lead. My focus is primarily on navigating APN and the various programs, and then networking with the various partner resources, the sellers, their teams, and trying to generate business through those avenues.
Excellent. Patrick, want to go next?
Sure, thanks. My name is Patrick Kinney. I'm Vice President at 27Global. I oversee all of our project delivery, and I've been here for 9 years, so I've seen the cloud really ramp up and take hold of the information technology landscape. I've been privileged enough to work with AWS for almost all of that time, starting with EC2 servers, and then over time, bringing our team up to speed with all of the services that AWS has to offer: microservices, serverless, data analytics, and really keeping our team on the cutting edge of technology. And I'm very grateful to work with some of the best in the business here to build the best solutions for our clients.
Excellent. Welcome. And Nate, how about you?
All right, Nate Christensen. So senior consultant here at 27Global, and have been getting into the weeds with the Polarware Bandera project. Previous to working here at 27Global, I've worked in product management and in marketing, and throughout the career I've seen kind of the power of the cloud, and really happy to be working here at 27Global, and specifically at Polarware.
Well, welcome as well. And again, thank you to 27Global for being here with us today. So let's talk a little bit about 27Global specifically. What can you tell us about your practice, and what was it that really drove you to decide to become a SaaS competency partner?
Good question, Anthony. So 27Global was founded as a custom software development provider back in 2008. And so custom software dev, especially SaaS, is part of our DNA. And over the last 16 years and project experience that we gained during that time, we've been able to evolve our SaaS practice as cloud adoption became more prevalent and more of our clients would see value out of that. So we saw the SaaS competency as being a perfect fit in that sense.
To that then, as far as your practice is concerned, are there areas of specialty or specific industries that you have experience with that you'd like to highlight?
Yes, we have several areas of expertise, and that all kind of encompasses the SaaS life cycle or journey of a SaaS product. So anything from migrations and application modernization as they become hosted on the AWS cloud. That also involves cloud engineering, enterprise architecture. Pat mentioned data platforming a minute ago. And with that, we also have a focus on AI, ML, and NLP. And to your ask about industries, we do have clients kind of spanning the spectrum of industries, but we have very good stories to tell, specifically in the energy space, insurance, FinServ and FinTech, manufacturing, SaaS and technology companies, as well as transportation and distribution.
So if we were to dig into that just a little bit deeper, you mentioned the energy industry and utilities, and I think this ultimately leads to a case study that you've presented, the customer Bandera. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, the utility space overall is behind many industries. No utility really knows what's happening behind the meter, like within a home or within a commercial building. And we really see SaaS products as helping to identify issues and problems more quickly, whether that's along the line or at a service location, and also giving their customers insights to their usage within their domain. So I think utilities are shifting to more value-added services for their customers as well. Energy saver programs are huge, especially with the push for electrification. So with that comes home and commercial real estate improvements, solar and battery installations, the whole concept of a microgrid, EV charging, and true visibility into your bill so you can see what's happening in the middle of the month, which of your circuits, which of your appliances is using the most energy. So it's not a surprise at the end of the month when you just get a bill with $1 value added. We also see some very exciting things happening at the grid level with demand response. If you think of some of these larger solar installations or even those at a home, when they have a battery that they can charge up, that is a great opportunity to store energy. And then if the grid has a high demand day, actually discharge that battery back to the grid to reduce the overall load. This can prevent blackouts, brownouts, and provide a better quality of service to all customers.
Interesting. So do you see then software as a service really making big headways into the utility sector and to energy specifically?
Yeah, I think these utilities, they're looking to catch up. And that's why we're so excited about the Bandera Electric Co-op HoloWare product, because this was built to solve a problem that they have. And now it's to the point where it's a fully featured multi-tenant SaaS platform that they can bring to utilities and quickly modernize their approach to customer service, grid maintenance, electrification, and the push into that. So I think there's a ton of opportunity for SaaS products to make headways into the utilities.
And given that this particular customer was a well-established company, big utility company in this case, in the electrical industry, what really kind of led you to, or what brought you to this customer? Were they already building a solution?
Yeah, they have built basically a proof of concept or a MVP to solve a particular use case for their customers. Their customers were getting sold solar systems, and the solar salesman was telling them, you buy this system, you'll never have an electric bill again. And then they got the system, they paid for it, and the salesman's down the road and they get their bill and there's still a charge there. So they were calling Bandera confused and somewhat frustrated about what was going on. So Bandera built with a Raspberry Pi and some other hardware a solar monitoring system so they could show their customers, here's exactly how much power your solar system generated, and that's why your bill is what it is, because you're still drawing from the grid. Over time, that really grew into a SaaS product. They still built for themselves initially, but then they made a push to make it multi-tenant, and they were having some struggles with reliability, costs, team management. And we have been working with an engineering firm who actually caters to energy and utilities. And they were working with Bandera at the same time and made the introduction to us after hearing about those challenges. So Bandera engaged with us to come in and do an audit of their existing cloud infrastructure, software architecture, scaling capabilities, cost optimization, and really take a new lens on the product to make sure they're building the highest value features at the right time.
Fantastic. Very interesting. So once you did engage with the customer then, was there a common approach, or is there a common approach that you take? And how did you work with this customer to move forward?
Yeah, it's very similar to a well-architected review. We've always called it an assessment. It's got our own flavor to it. For Bandera in particular, we looked at 5 different areas. So we looked at the actual code that was written. We looked at the AWS infrastructure. We took a holistic approach to auditing the product and its features, what was in use, what was not being used, what was half built. We evaluated their agile process. For years, every consultant at 27Global has been a certified Scrum Master, and they're the ones in charge of running the development team. So we were able to come in and look how their actual product development lifecycle was working and give them some guidance there. And then we looked at their team composition. Now, at 27Global, we bring a full team approach. We bring architecture, engineering, cloud engineering, consulting, enterprise architecture. So when we do these assessments, it's not just one person coming in and writing the report. take a full team approach to producing that assessment deliverable.
And were there any specific problematic areas that you discovered during this assessment or audit that you had with Pantera?
Yeah, there were a couple big ones that they knew about already, and then there were some others that we dug up as well. So the main one was system stability. They're ingesting data from a ton of IoT devices that are pumping in data every minute, and it's coming in sometimes more frequently than that, every 5 seconds. But the system was having trouble ingesting all that data and performing and bringing it to the front end. So we gave them a thorough report on here's the issues that are driving the system stability problems that they were encountering. We also looked at the AWS cost. Because of the system was unstable, a lot of resources would get pegged and hung, and they would have to upsize them. And that was driving the AWS cost for our client to an unsustainable monthly burn. So we gave them some guidance on how we would address that. We also look at code quality and security. And at 27Global, we use a combination of automated tools such as Prowler and SonarQube, but always combined with manual analysis. So we gave them a full write-up on all the issues we discovered there. The CI/CD process was laborious. It was not fulfilling the promise of a push-button deployment, prone to failure. Getting a deployment out took hours. So we gave them guidance on how we would refactor that. And then finally, the agile process had some major issues, stand-ups running way too long, sprints not being completed on time, changing priorities. So we gave them another write-up on that about how we would approach that.
So from all of that interaction with the customer and this, interesting areas that you discovered that may needed to be addressed, and from these reports that you created, were you able then to take the customer to the next step and actually do some implementation with them? And if so, what kind of architectures did you recommend? What AWS services were able to be applied to help them?
Yeah, let me kick us off here, and then I'll turn it over to Nate for the details, because he's the guy doing most of the work here, guiding the team.
Sure.
The client took that report back to their stakeholders, evaluated it, and eventually brought us in to be the full development team. So we were able to go in and implement many of our recommendations. So with that, I'll let Nate handle the nitty-gritty on that.
Yeah, so covering, as Pat mentioned, stability and cost were two of the key focuses that we have gone forward with. And, those two things in addition are kind of key elements that were blocking the ability to scale out to grow the business to new customers. So the first change that we'll go through is we moved the data analytics processing out of Redshift and EMR and moved that into Kinesis Data Analytics. So we have now our data is being processed from a data analytics application. And then we have that data, we moved it to write, instead of writing new data into Redshift, we wrote that data into S3, leveraging Redshift Spectrum. And we had glue crawlers run to automatically identify new partitions, and then leveraging an external schema, we can leverage that live data into the front end, and then also copy that live data from S3 into Redshift to allow for further analytical processes run. And so some of those further analytics we ran are materialized views. So now with the materialized views, that allowed us to decrease the strain on our core data tables in Redshift and increase the load time on the front end, improving the user experience, and then also reducing the cost and overall, creating a more reliable system. And additionally, we've added monitoring with AWS SageMaker to both monitor our data quality and to gain some of those insights that might be a little bit harder to run directly from analyzing the data from within Redshift. And then also, as there are some issues, like Pat mentioned, there are a wide range of devices. And so that can mean there are lots of different problems that can happen with any given device, thus requiring an element of reprocessing. So we need to reprocess some data from those different devices. And so we have an AWS step function that links together servers Lambda, an additional reprocessing Flink application, in a Redshift upsert function, so that we can reprocess in a kind of batch manner automatically using CloudWatch to trigger that to run different parts throughout the day. And then lastly, we talked about using SageMaker to run data analysis. We also have AWS QuickSight that we leverage to gain more sort of utility administrative insights and have that loaded up into the application to make it easier for a utility user to gain insights on all of the performance within their utility.
Well, that's quite a bit of changes that you were able to help this customer to implement into their solution. Sounds fantastic. What was the final outcomes that you saw from the customer?
Yeah, so the big takeaway is 40% savings on their AWS bill. And the key piece is when we say 40% savings now, that also is including a 20% larger user base. And so key takeaway is that scaling larger now no longer adds linear costs. And so with that, we also have increased confidence in the data quality because of that decoupling of the writing into Redshift and the writing into S3. And so increased data quality, all of the applications are able to kind of run on their own. And if something goes wrong, we have an automated reprocessing function to kind of go through all of that and keep the system healthy. We also have an automated alert system using an additional Kinesis data analytics application to notify customers about problematic behavior. So this is creating users who before were having next to zero engagement with their utility, who are now receiving an alert saying, hey, your water pump's been on for hours.
Nice.
And they find out they have a leak and then fix the water pump and also have a better utility bill, saving money in the long run. And now they're sort of Apollo-aware champions for life because of that. So also throughout all of this, mentioned SageMaker notebooks, and it's just overall a simpler data architecture. So with that comes more awareness across the team and the company on the data lifecycle. And so this has made huge improvements on just team collaboration for how we roadmap future feature development and how kind of, you have the whole team on board and everyone's able to be a part of that decision-making. So that's been a just added value culturally on the day-to-day. Also, like I mentioned, with reliability, now that we have a more reliable system, adding new clients is something that the whole company feels much safer about, and we're no longer seeing a roadblock to grow that where we may have previously. Just to call it a quote from a major ISO in the region is that this is the most advanced DERMS that they have ever seen. So that was a great quote and a good win. Additionally, like we mentioned, the data lifecycle it's all decoupled, simpler. This allows more future feature development to be more streamlined and simpler, and costing the client less development time and getting them more return on their investment. And through all of this is added project longevity, and it helps us grow into new markets. And we're also seeing statewide adoption of this technology.
Oh, that is absolutely fantastic. Shows a great level of customer obsession, not just for your customer in this case, but your customers' customers as well. So fantastic work, and a really great case study and success story to show from you as one of our partners. What advice would you give other AWS customers who are facing similar challenges building their SaaS solutions today?
I would definitely get in touch with a SaaS competency partner. I took us through the application and validation process for it. It's incredibly thorough. We were challenged on a lot of our practices and had to back it up. We went through a third-party audit. But because of that, AWS has validated our expertise and all the SaaS competency partner expertise. So I would definitely contact a SaaS competency partner who's been to this rodeo before and can help them recover from a project that's struggling, or if they don't have the project built yet, it just exists in their head. We do this all the time where we take it from our client's brain to the whiteboard, to POC, MVP, and all the way through to production. So I think linking your internal team up with a SaaS competency partner who will work alongside you is the best approach to get your project back on track or build it from the ground up.
Thank you so much for being here with us, 27 Global, today, and for Patrick, Garrett, and Nate for being here to describe their great experience with customer Bandera and the what you do for our customers. We, of course, love the SaaS Competency Partner Program and all of our partners, and certainly 27 Global we see as one of our most valued partners in doing this. So thank you so much again to all of you. My name is Anthony McClure, Solutions Architect with the AWS SaaS Factory team, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.